Radio 88.9 FM, the champion, darling, beautiful Tuesday afternoon. And it's showtime, yes indeed, right here on your numero uno sports star. The Jiggy Man is in the building. Kilani Abdul Hakim Adeshola is my name. You call me the Jiggy Man, and I hope you are in the best possible state of mind, body, and of course, spirit. I hope you're keeping safe, yes indeed. Time to hook you up again with juicy, sports, delicious action as is happening all across the big, beautiful world of sports. You can get on board. We're live on Twitter at BlueLineFM889. Join us on the Facebook fan page, Sports Radio, Rilla for Rilla. And of course, you know we're just a phone call away. Just pick up the phone and dial the hottest number in the land, and you will be connected.
When the fans asked for more, we at Sports Radio 88.9 FM gave them 4 wishes and a magical line. It simply means when you call 0700000889, you're routed through 4 different lines. So when you dial the magical number 0700000889, you get through to us on 4 lines. That means you have 4-in-1 chance of having your voice heard on your favorite radio station. So go ahead and start dialing. It's the 4-in-1 package from the home of the fans.
Yes, that's exactly what you need to do to get on board. And of course, you know I'm right here, waiting to hear from you. So get in on it and get all the live juicy action. A lot is happening all across the globe, and a lot is happening on the local scene. For example, yes, if you are one of those who've been worried and say, what is going on with all our associations, factions here, factions there, factions everywhere, preventing things from going smoothly. Well, let me give you a heads up to let you know that it concerns the Players Union, where the issue of factionalism might be a thing of the past. Yes, so right here, and you get more info in a little bit. But then let's go international to let you know that quite a lot is happening. And yes, when I'm talking a lot, well, I'm talking something as serious as a legal action. Yes, legal action being taken by some club sides. Rayo Vallecano and Elche have expressed their anger with the decision to play the final round of matches in La Liga Smartbank on Monday evening. Deportivo La Coruña's match with Fuenlabrada was postponed after 12 players tested positive for the dreaded coronavirus. The announcement of the postponement came just a couple of hours before all 11 of the matches in the final round of fixtures in La Liga were meant to kick off. Not La Liga itself, La Liga Smartbank, will get it twisted. The postponement of that particular game at Riazor has implications on both the race of the playoff places and the fight for survival. Deportivo were involved in a relegation battle with the likes of Albacete and Lugo, while Fuenlabrada are competing for a spot in the promotion playoffs with the likes of Rayo and Elche. With a game not taking place at the same time as everyone else's, some clubs competing with them in the league table are understandably not happy. One of those clubs is Rayo, who are also in pursuit of a playoff place. Yes, indeed. Suspending or postponing Deportivo versus Fuenlabrada without postponing the rest of the relevant matches can mean that if Albacete and Lugo win their games, Deportivo will mathematically already be relegated, and they're being forced, yes, Rayo Vallecano being forced to play under the threat of dropping points, while Fuenlabrada are not, when they could have played with the remaining players in their squad who did not test positive for the coronavirus. Another case of what is good for the goose and also being good for the Ghana. That went down, of course, yesterday. Now, in an update to that one, let's let you know that Deportivo have been relegated from La Liga Smartbank without even taking to the pitch. Yes, they have been relegated without playing that game. Wins for relegation rivals Albacete and Lugo in the final round of fixtures in Spain's second tier last night condemned the Galician side to the drop. In spite of beating Tenerife, Numancia's relegation was also sealed as they joined Depo, Extremadura and Racing Santander in Segundo B. Deportivo did not play their final fixture with Fuenlabrada after 12 of the latter's team tested positive for coronavirus, as you can foresee that. So it all opening up up for something that could turn really, really ugly. We'll keep tabs on it and report to you accordingly. In the meantime, of course, action will continue today in the Italian Serie A, where Atalanta will take on Bologna and Sassuolo will play Milan. In the meantime, in England, yes, the Premier League, where Watford and Manchester City will lock horns and Aston Villa will take on Arsenal. And talking about Arsenal, well, one man has words to say about Arsenal. I'm talking about Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola, who's come out to say that he respects Arsenal on the pitch, but not much off the pitch. Yes, City, of course, had their 2-year European suspension overturned by the Court of Arbitration for Sport on the 13th of July. They are understood to believe Arsenal were a chief instigator behind a collective request by 8 Premier League clubs for CAS not to allow a delay to the ban pending appeal. As the case was decided before the end of the season, no delay was needed. And that's why Pep Guardiola is saying, well, on the pitch, we'll respect them as a team, we'll play them as we need to, but off the pitch, why are they doing busybody up and down? How come they were the ones who were the instigators, the chief instigator, going to CAS to go and snitch? In fact, Pep Guardiola practically called Arsenal snitches because they are understood to be the chief instigator behind a collective request by 8 Premier League clubs for CAS not to allow a delay to the ban pending the appeal. So that's a bit of bad blood right about now between Arsenal and, of course, Manchester City. What kind of effect will it have? And if you're going to take sides, who are you going to take sides with? Are you going to side Man City on this one, or you're going to side Arsenal? Well, you let me know when you get on board the phone lines. It's a beautiful day right here, and of course it is a lunch sports show, and so much to give you so little time. I have a man waiting in the wings. Yes, indeed, is no stranger when it comes to the round of the game. Let's bring it home right here, right now. We'll go to the interview room where Garba Lawal, call him Chindo, is waiting. Let's go hook up with him straight away. It is Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla Farilla. It's time to head over to the interview room.
This Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla FM.
It is still Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla FM, your champions dial. It's a beautiful Tuesday, and yes, indeed, it is the Lunch Hour Sports Show. It's always a pleasure to have somebody of this caliber who's played football at the highest level, represented Nigeria, yes, beyond the shores of a country, and that's why it's a pleasure for me to have my Oga, Garba Lawal, on the show this beautiful day. My chairman, I throw a salute.
Okay,
he's very, very fine. In fact, he sends his regards. He says we should greet you very, very well, and that he hopes you are keeping safe in this COVID era.
It's my good for more than 20 years, that's true.
Yes, indeed. Now, a lot is happening all across the big, beautiful world of football. But then, they say east, west, home definitely is the best. So we need to look inwards to see how things are happening at home. Now, one of the new things that has gone down recently is as it concerns the players' welfare. Now, you are well aware, because you're one of those who have taken it upon yourself to ensure that footballers actually get their just desserts. But there's been a bit of a problem with warring factions inside the players' union. But then reports we are getting is that the two sides have now come to an agreement, and they will see eye to eye in order to protect the interests of footballers in Nigeria. What's your take on this latest development?
No, I think it's a latest development. I've not spoken with Babangida anyway. I saw what they want to do as the two both sides, the two factions. It's important to come together. Players' welfare is very, very important. That's why we are in the cycle of football. Their welfare is very important. Without their welfare, then you and I will not be in the cycle of football and the other members of the players' union. It's very key to protect them. When they protect them, things will go easy. But if we protect the players, we're having problems in there, whether we like it or not. That's just the basic truth. And many of us don't like the truth. That is my basic concern.
Now, the issue is, and a lot of people actually wonder that why, if we're having factions, if we're having issues, it shouldn't be from ex-footballers who have played the game and know what it means to actually be a footballer, that they should instead come together. So we want to find out, what exactly do you feel is the primary cause of rift?
I think the main cause is that when Harrison started, we were not in the court, we were not around. So I think that is the basic, that is the number one problem. When Harrison started that union, that time we were actually playing.
Yeah.
So because when Dairo Sani and Popo came in, that is where the problem started. You know, and now that Babangida is around now, and Adela also came in Harrison, and they have a meeting at the weekend. That is most important thing. We are on the same side, the positive side, I believe. And I believe when later in the day I'll call Baba, or 3 days coming, I'll call Babangida to know, because I was not at the meeting, so I don't know what exactly. But when I saw them meet, took factual meet, I said, well, for sure, now we have stability for sure.
Yes, definitely is a step in the right direction if both factions can sit down at the round table and come to an agreement.
That is most important. Anyway, most important if you made a mistake and you come in and say, hey, let's come together and talk. Sometimes miscommunication is that is where the problem is. You don't know my idea, I don't know your idea. But when you come in, we sit down and we talk, and I understand you understand me, then you won't have any problem.
Okay. Now, some have even said that these players that they are fighting for, that most of them do not really appreciate what it means to actually play for Nigeria at this point in time. So I want you to compare generations when you were playing for the Super Eagles and the Super Eagles that we have now. What is the primary difference? The players that are being called into the national team, do they appreciate what it means to actually wear the jersey of the country?
You have like during our time, whenever you call upon to come and play, even if you come as a newcomer, when they put this jersey on the ground, they say everyone goes and pick his jersey. If a newcomer, because you won't know even the number you take, because that's his number. And the kind of qualitative player you have, for sure you have backup. Because if you're a newcomer and the coach pick you to start the game, you know that those players will tell you, hey, don't be afraid to make mistakes, we're there for you. So you're in a circle of qualitative players. Whether they pay you, they don't pay you, you don't even think of the money first. You want to know where they're going to get it first. That was those days. I don't know how they feel now. Because those days, those players, they're like family. And they want to play for Nigeria. No doubt about that. Everybody wants to wear the green white gold because when you call upon, maybe you are not the best one, but you are the lucky one. Because you have a lot of good talented players. And those days we call each other. We have a lot of friends. Some of us started from under 20 together. Myself, JJ, Kanu, we all started from the Mauritius. So you see, so a lot of players come from different cadets. So maybe that's why we are like friends. Because if even now a lot of us have contacted each other on the phone. You call into how you do. Whenever I have some food program, if I have, I'll make sure I include like see some express. So you see. So I don't know. And the entire generation I think will change. The entire generation change because those days you have a lot of players like 14, 15, 16 players play week out. Yeah. So it's easy for the coach to set the system. But now there's no opportunity. So that's why a lot of coaches are ready. Before this one they said, who's a bench warmer? Those days we have few bench warmers. If you call them, maybe they have issues with their coaches at their clubs, which is normal. It's normal. You understand? So when you come, you don't like my face, just like that. Not my football. So I think that is different. Even you as a professional journalist, you know those days, those players are different with this cycle because those generations are gone. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, you and I are not going to know. So, but for sure, we don't have those kind of quality players like before. We keep on seeing when we have to do. And I think our players need to have a lot of more discipline in on the field, because that discipline make you have continuity in your team. Even you're not starting the game, your coach will think, Brazil is very important. It's on them, but I can find the sound anytime. I'll tell him to go and walk, so that I can use it. But I think that makes us different from this generation. We don't care about the money you want to come and play. You want to be on the cycle of those stars, because you know when you're with them, you're covered. You know, a lot of young players that started during our time, Yogo, Genius, Yakubu, you know, Agali, Udeze, a lot of them like that. They started with us, and they feel happy to be in our midst. Yeah. You know, there's no way to we are like one. They're still, when they see us, they should respect us. And sometimes they call, you know, most especially my guy. Udeze,
yes.
Yes, he's always calling Mateo, because they're happy to be in our midst.
Now, let me say something. You talked about the cohesion that was in the old generation. A lot of people believe that this new generation should be learning from you guys. But then some have actually said that this new generation have seen that it's not all pure love within you guys, that some of you guys, when some have the opportunity to step up, maybe as coach or, you know, for the national teams, that they don't get the support of their former teammates. How would you react to that?
I don't know the kind of support you're talking about. When we are from something, like Babangida, like Omakachi, we go in the same state.
Yes.
And play the street at the same time, at the same level. You know, the family. When Baba has something, or Dana has something,
yes,
or Victor has something, or Talibo, those people that will communicate with each other. When we have something, we call each other and congratulate ourselves now. That's not a problem. I don't know how people see it from far away. If you don't come close, you wouldn't go from far. That is going on for people here back home. If you did not stay close to person, how can you know attitude or character from far away?
True.
If you come close to me, then you know me much better. Your guy, if you ask your guy here, he knows my attitude and character because he's so tough. And you know the kind of person I was. So we're human. You and I cannot be different. We don't have different ideas. We don't have the same idea, which is normal. You know, but the most important thing, if you understand me, I understand you. And everybody has all methodology. You understand as a person, as a coach. You know, so I think people judge always judge people from far away, and which is not good. We have to change that.
True. We definitely have to change that. Now, I want to ask, aside from belonging to the Players Union, which primarily is for, you know, players who are playing right about now, those who have played before, is there a formal or informal gathering that you have, like an association?
No. We don't have that. That is what Babangida is trying to do now. Because that time is Popo and Dahiru Sani.
Yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So we don't know what is going on those days.
Okay.
But now Babangida is, whenever they have something, they always try to call his colleagues and give them feedback, which is good. Because one, we don't have office. You know, we don't have a lot of things. So how can you gather people that when you don't have office and other things?
So there is no formal association for ex-internationals?
No. If we have office, then we knew this is the office. They will have right to stand and give ourselves and say, yes, we are one. But we don't have office. Where are you going to be putting now? You have to look for hotels or somewhere. You know, but if you have office, you know you cannot gather all of us, which is normal because of the distances we have. You understand? But the most important is is the togetherness. If we set that platform very well, the association group, then everything will come up. Then we can meet our chest and talk anywhere.
That's true. That's true. And that definitely will go a long way, because people believe that part of the problems that we have, especially in Nigerian football these days, is because the ex-internationals have not come together. And that's why others can make decisions. People who have not actually played the game are those who are actually making the decisions. But if they have input from ex-internationals, that will do better.
They are the NFL now. They are the ones for sure they are the ones that will make decision whether that association yes or no. They are differential. So it's like that. So the most important thing, forget about that side. The most important thing is for us to set that to come together and to come forward. Whatever now we have, if you have examples of our office, then we can shoot ourselves and hit our chest and talk. Everywhere we go. You understand? But now, what about if they ask, do you have office? The answer is no. We don't have it. Then where can you go? You can talk. So that is what Babangida wants to do. I told you, we will not set up that office first. We have our office, then we know this is our own office. Then we can talk.
All right. Well, we definitely hope that with this settling of differences, that we will see a new lease of life, of the players' union, and that it will positively affect, the players that are there. Now, going forward, you talked about the younger generation and the older generation. A lot of people are afraid that the people we have now, especially coming out of COVID, that we might have one or two issues with the national team, especially as we count down towards the African Cup of Nations. What do you think we can do to ensure that we have a solid team? The boys that we have right about now, most of them playing international, do you think they can constitute a formidable Super Eagles team under the coach, General Troy?
Why not? Because the coach selects his players. And every coach wants to have that will suit his methodology. That is the versatile of the coach. He wants. That's why sometimes if the coach will not call a player, it doesn't mean that player is not good. But he's not as good. Without player fitting my job, or if that player fit, can he help my team? It's not about me as a coach, it's about the whole team. That is football. Let's say you want to play alone. No, even people from the bench, sometimes they change before the game. So whether that man just wants to do, and I believe the coach, anything they decide to give Gero, I think 2 years from 2.5 years or so. That's all I need. I don't know. The only thing I can say, I read on media that the wrong signed 2 or 2.5 contract. So that's why that's why NFL employment. So I believe with the current squad now, my concern and fear is that continuity. Consistency is very important. If you play a game now, 100% fantastic football, then the next 2 weeks you come in and play average football, that is what the problem is. You cannot make Formula human. Whether you like it or not, you make mistake. So if you play 99% or 98% you are human, the next game if you play 80%, it's not bad. But if you drop, that is what the problem is. I think that is what do I see. As a person,
I must ask you this one about the quality of opposition, whether it matters. Yes, indeed. The NFF recently revealed that they are looking at getting in touch with one South American side and one African side for our next international friendlies in September and October. And we have the African Cup of Nations to prepare for. So some have said, why are we looking outside Africa for the next friendlies? That instead of looking at one South American side and one African side, we should focus in Africa. What do you have to say to that?
That's what I'm saying. If we go for African Nations Cup, then definitely you have to play African team. And sometimes as a coach, as player, it doesn't matter all what you're looking for. You're looking for a good qualitative for everyone. or fifth qualitative friendly match, whether we like it or not. It doesn't mean Africa or Africa or South America. The most important thing, that country that you're playing, you are sure they're strong. That is the most important as a player, as a player, as a coach.
Okay, that's definitely fantastic. We'll definitely look at that, hoping that it will actually turn out for the better. Before I let you go, of course, I know you keep tabs on world football. Just yesterday, the news broke that the Ballon d'Or award for this year has been cancelled. Reactions have been coming in, some saying they should not have cancelled it, others saying yes, it is a good thing, some saying some players it might have been their last chance. For example, Robert Lewandowski might not get another chance to win the Ballon d'Or. Do you think it's a good thing? The reason they gave was that because of COVID, football this year was not played the way it should have. That was the reason the organizers gave. Do you think that's a genuine one?
Yes, I agree with them. Not to hold the because all what he's saying, they say. So we are still hoping to stay safe. So I agree with them. You are the one, man. It's not much. A lot of players don't have the opportunity to play the football, and they're playing their football with you now, year in year out. So that's just what it is. That's how God wants it to be. So I think you cannot change what God's right. You can't do that. So I think they did the right thing. If you want to win Ballon d'Or, world best, this and that. If you want to win, if God says I'm watching, you win. Whether you like it or not. But if God says no before you are born, there's nothing you can't change it, because we don't know this COVID-19 will come this time around. Nobody knows. People 8 months ago, you tell them, hey, Corona will come in the next few months. The people tell you, say, are you God? Yeah, and they're right. And you're not God. That's the true about the whole thing. So I think they're right to cancel the event.
Right. Well, I want to thank you. It's always a pleasure speaking with you on Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM. And yes, of course, once again, let me extend the warm welcome, warm greetings of Chairman CEO Brila Media, Dr. Larry Izakoje, your friend.
Make you green, the man always have it for you. Make you green, the man always have it. Make you green that for me.
I will definitely will do that. Thank you so much for speaking with us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This is Sports Radio.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, then.
Home of the champions.
Yes, Sports Radio 88.9 Brila FM, your champions dial. A beautiful day. Our phone lines are going crazy. Garba Lawal, gone by. It is the Launch Area Sports Show. There's somebody on the line. Hello, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you.
My name is Drew Guy from Construction.
Right, Drew, how you doing?
I listen religious view with Chindu. The only assistance with Mr. Gabalawa. I agree with him on almost what he said, but on this Ballon d'Or, I disagree totally with him. And in fact, I feel for Lewandowski. In as much as football is being played to some extent, some teams go on relegation, some go get promotion.
Yes.
Then why did you pay to give the Ballon d'Or to somebody who is bad? This is the time. This is why I say double standard. Part of the reason why I say because it's not because Ronaldo or Messi didn't perform well. That's my own standard. That is why they don't want to give it to somebody else. Popularity contest. Popularity contest wants to do. That's my speak. Exactly. And as for the class union,
yes.
I hope the two factions address the interest of the younger generation. For the interest of the younger generation.
Yes.
The younger generation are not looking up to them as well good because they are not united. You say it's together, but somehow but the truth of the matter is they are not united. That is just my thing. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla 4 Rilla. Well, we'll have more light shed on that. Yes, indeed, because I tried catching up with the president of the union, Tijani Babangida, but he was in transit at that point in time. Yes, indeed, and we'll get in touch with him a little bit later on. But just around the corner, yes, the general secretary of the union, yes, well, he said, well, he will be live on, Lunch Hour Sports Show, and we'll get to find out more about the state of affairs with the factions in the players' union. So you need to stay right here. Hello, somebody.
Yeah, good afternoon, Abdul Hakim.
Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, this is Audu Salih who calling from Abani.
How are you doing today? How do my brother?
No bad. You see, first time I'm disagreeing with DOJ Motor Show.
Okay.
Because what he said, there's nothing like conspiracy there. Because one, it's too clear. France, the league has ended in France. In Holland, the league has ended. So you mean Mbappe, Neymar, they are going to sideline them because of German league is on. And somebody say, Lewandowski is playing, Messi is playing, Ronaldo. Why not consider the other league that have ended already? Some leagues, they are not playing. And you see, because of these people are playing, we are seeing them, Messi, Ronaldo, they play in like 3 matches in a week. And we've seen them. How about Neymar and Mbappe? You bring their own into account at all? How about Holland, those guys who are there, who the league has ended? Belgium, the league has ended. So total agree 100% with the cancellation. Abdul Hakim, salamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla 4 Rilla. It is the Lunch Sports Show. And yes, indeed, giving you all the action right here. And of course, you know, you can jump in on it. We're live on Twitter, on the Facebook fan page. And of course, you can pick up the phone and dial the hottest number in the land, 0700 889. That definitely is the number to dial. Also, get on board the social media platforms because you can get there. If you have to move, then take Brilla with you. Download the Brilla app from the Google Play Store and the Apple iTunes Store so you don't miss. Yes, you do not miss any of the action. Yes, indeed. Let's take this call. Hello, good afternoon to you, somebody. Hello.
I greet you.
I greet you too, my brother. What is your name?
Musa.
Musa. All right. What's on your mind, Musa?
I don't know because that France, when they come to the Colombia, one time, between two people, where I tell you that Neymar or Mbappe. For Neymar, they come on my for Colombia forever from career.
Why now? How about? That's hard.
Maybe. Now Mbappe will carry this Colombia after Ronaldo and Messi. So it will never matter when it comes to one.
Okay. All right. Let's see how that is. I hear you too, my brother. Yes, Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla 4 Rilla, and the action is still going on strong right here on Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla 4 Rilla. And a lot of people, yes, when you talk about factions coming together to settle their differences, there's a lot of skepticism involved. Well, you can't blame them because when you talk about basketball, they say factions. When you talk about cricket, they say factions. When you talk about volleyball, factions. Football, what's going on? Even the players' union had factions. But then, like I said, indications are that is a thing of the past at this point in time. We're heading back to the interview room, yes, indeed, and this time to speak with the General Secretary of the Professional Footballers Association, yes, indeed, on that Tijani Babangida faction. Well, we hope, after this, hopefully, we will not be saying faction anymore, at least as it concerns the players' union. So, back to the interview room we go. It is still the Lunch Sports Show on Sports Radio 88.9 Umbrella 4 Rilla. Don't go anywhere because this is where the action is. You know, this is a home of sports.
This is the home of sport. Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla FM.
It is still Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla FM, your champions dial. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. and our action is still ongoing. Welcome to the Lunch Hour Sports Show. It is my pleasure to have a man who, when you're writing football history in Nigeria, well, I don't know how many chapters will be devoted to his exploits there. In particular, what he has done to ensure that players' welfare, yes, is not thrown by the wayside. A pleasure to have the Secretary General of the Players Union, that's Austin Popo, on the line. Good afternoon to you, boss.
Good afternoon.
Now, a lot of people have been aware of how it hasn't been too good with the Players Union, what with factions disturbing the progress. So it will be heartwarming for them to find out that it seems as if all swords have been sheathed, which is what we are hearing. But I want a confirmation. What's the latest update when it comes to the Players Union and the factions that are inherent in it?
Let me begin the update by letting you know, first and foremost, that they say when the pain of remaining the same is greater than the pain of change, change becomes inevitable. There are pains that comes with change, and there are also pains that you decide to remain the same. But when one is greater than the other, one takes precedent. That's the situation we find ourselves. You are aware that even though we try to make a lot of progress, but because of the seeming factions, the Players Union, things have not really worked the way they supposed to work.
True.
People have capitalized on this vacuum to create all kinds of divisions and all kinds of things. But I think was it on Friday? Wednesday was that? But at the end of the day, I think this is the first time we've agreed that we must come together to become one, even though in the past there have been some attempts to do some reconciliation. There have been all kinds of motives and interests. But I strongly believe that this one will work. So at the end of the day, what we have done is that, one, the first step is that we have agreed to come together. The second step is that let's create a roadmap, come up with decisions that we can enable us to now come together. But having said that, in the first instance, I want to also give kudos and thank Arisin Jala, who I actually worked with the first under NAF, and thank God, even in the meeting, he clarified the fact that they told him the reason why I wanted to leave our ministers. There was no proper structure, no constitution. Are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
No proper working constitution. And for those number of years, I think today, as I speak, one, the National Association of Nigerian Professional Footballers, headed by Tijani Babangida,
yes,
on the 4th of December 2018, that was the first time, so to speak, that a union president was properly elected by the actors themselves, including all the club captains and all our state chairmen across the country. What in essence I'm trying to tell is that as I speak, there is a structure. And secondly, and that structure is a member of the Congress of the NFF. Since the President agreed that he's going to step down, here are some of the things we are looking at. And secondly, it's going to be a win-win situation. But at the end of the day, my thinking, that is my own thinking. I hope that we're just going to build on that structure and improve it, let us become one so that we can move ahead. That is my own thinking, but without being preempting anybody, but let's see how the roadmap will work.
Okay. So in order for clarity's purpose, there was a meeting and the parties agreed to come together. Now, what are the modalities?
That is what we are working on. From my own perspective,
yes,
I also think that anybody who has made a lot of contribution like he did himself, cannot just, he said he's going to walk away, cannot walk away. That is my own thinking. And it's like somebody who has been part of funding something. The union still had a lot to benefit from him.
Definitely.
As far as I'm concerned. So those are the things. He also has some followers these are the things but I think the most important thing is that we should agree to improve on the structure that is already on the ground. Yeah.
Okay. Now, earlier on today, I spoke with Garba Lawal, and he shared some thoughts. We looked at the position of ex-internationals and what they do in contributing. I asked him a question. I asked if the ex-internationals had a union of their own, or they are supposed to be a part of the players' union as it is right about now. So I want you to shed more light on the role of ex-internationals. Will they be a part of this union, which of course will comprise of existing players, or they will have a separate one in order to help with the affairs of the game?
It depends on what they think, but elsewhere in other climes, even the coaches association and the players union are not separated in sub-country.
Yes.
The reason why is that it's covered that most coaches are also ex-footballers. But in our own case, like what people we always encourage, that if you even tell them you are doing a lot of things for ex-players, they will tell you that is not the focus. The focus will be on the current players so that they don't fall into the kind of predicament some of our ex-players in. But being that our own vision is that for now, the current players and the ex-players are members of the union if you are willing to be a member, and whether you are ex-international, because the current players cannot actually administer themselves. Because if you look at our structure today, the first the president is an ex-player. The first vice president is an ex-player, ex-international. Then the second vice president is the current captain of Bobe United, who is a current player. Yes. We also have a female player there is a current player, and just like that, it's a mixture. And we also have provisions for even upcoming players, because the whole idea is that once you can catch them young, you begin to educate them before they get into the league, so that they know their rights and privileges and all those. So it's not a static thing. But I know in Nigeria that there was one association, ex-international football association, but I tell you, it's not functioning. It's not functioning, and some of us are supposed to be the member. It's not to run a union. It's not an easy task, especially in Nigeria, given the kind of mentality that we have here. Because as I speak with you, like I said, there is no ex-international in quote that I personally not approached regarding the issue of the players' union, but everybody don't seem to, because it takes a lot of sacrifice. Yes. And that is why I someone like Tijani Babangida, I hold him in high esteem, because immediately after the election, what he did was to go to Holland, to FIPO headquarters. He came back, both of us traveled almost more than 10 states in the North South to visit the clubs for the first time, to talk to them about the customized pension plan that we're having. It's not every ex-player at his level that we consider that. So it takes a lot, mostly when no fund is coming from anywhere.
And that's another thing. A lot of people right now don't know the challenges that the Shedding of Swords will actually help solve. So I want you to enumerate, what are those things that you were trying to do that the factional war had prevented from doing? A lot of things happen in the league. The most recent, of course, the cessation of the season by the LMC and the NFF, that people say, what about the players? What about their welfare? And they expect the players' union to do something about it. So what were those challenges that you faced?
The biggest challenge we have, especially in Nigeria, is that people travel all over the places. Our administrators travel and they see what is obtainable in other climes. For example, in most of the union that are outside, they have a collective bargaining agreement with either the league or the federation. The essence of the collective agreement is to highlight certain areas of working relationship in terms of access, in terms of conditions of players. These are, once there is a collective bargaining agreement in place, then a lot of things can be achieved. For example, what we have here, decisions are being taken on behalf of players. The union has not been consulted. And all we just do is that when there's a congress, they invite us to the congress, and we're not even allowed to say what we are supposed to say and all those things. So I don't know why, because severally we made attempts to hold. We had meetings with the federation, we had meetings with the league, we had meetings even with the club owners association, but everybody seems to be pursuing their personal interest. The bottom line is, the truth is that our administrators are not pro players welfare. The clubs and all of them, they see the players as liabilities of our assets, and they also know the weak point of the players that in terms of job security.
Yes.
Because as it stands today, because of the way our clubs have been structured, government-owned clubs, there's no accountability, no transparency, no integrity, and if a quality player, they know it's time to stand on his right, they can just sack him and bring a low performing player. They don't care, because there's no standard, no target. So these are some of the things we face. So we are also working on the fact that if these players, they have job security, most of them will be able to align with the union. So the system is a problem. It's part of the reason why we say we must come together. It's very important, so that people speak as individual. Because what I have found funny, because in the union where I'm presently the general secretary, the recent one is this COVID-19 palliative from FIFA. Until we spoke out, I said, no, they must tell us how this money are being distributed to the clubs, because you just find a situation where clubs are beginning to sack players and coaches indiscriminately, and they tell you because there's no money to pay them. And we are aware, elsewhere, that monies are being distributed by the federation to these clubs, and so we are not asking what is wrong with the case of Nigeria. So until recently, they now said, okay, we are going to talk about how this money is going to be shared among the clubs. So if we don't speak out, the clubs will not speak out. It's unfortunate. It just boils down to the club structures too, because if you are a private-owned club or a community-based club, you must ask questions. That is the truth. So all these things, I think structurally, we are not truly running professional football, and it also have a way of affecting the performance of the union. Let us take the issue of a dispute of the player status committee. You will not believe that for almost 6 years, there's no player dispute committee in the MFF. Whoa. And there's no arbitration. So a lot of players have suffered because of that. That is why you discover that foreign players that are playing in a domestic league under the same conditions and challenged, they always have answers to their problem, because those by FIFA law, their own jurisdiction is within FIFA. But our own here, nobody can enforce anything on the club, because you can only separate the clubs from the league and the league from the federation. So it all boils down to the structure. These are some of the things we are trying to look at. By the 25th of next month, we are organizing an online conference to look at some reforms, that we need. How does it come about? It comes right from the football structure, right from the local government level, So we must look for quality. We must be involved in a lot of things. A lot of things need to change. A lot of things, even the transfer of players not having their contracts. And on paper, some of these things are there, but they are not working. So we must look at a way of trying to enforce this thing. That's why this reconciliation is perfect.
If we even start talking about contracts, I don't think we'll leave here today. But one thing that a lot of people actually talk about, and which the powers that be have sometimes leveraged on, is the individual nature of players who have actually made money in a good career and then have somehow misappropriated those funds and then come back begging.
Yeah, I think to be fair with some of them, you see, it also boils down to the issue of education and awareness. You know, as celebrities, people don't actually understand the pitfalls that actually face a professional football player. One, in terms of our career, even if you're a celebrity, you don't have the same career span, lifespan like an actress who can still be acting film even at the age of 50, 40.
Yes.
Yours is just 35 maximum.
Have a shelf life.
Then talking about which is also a disadvantage. Then talking about the issue of education. You know, if you are a quality player, football has the power to remove you from the mainstream of education, which is also a disadvantage. Now, under 90 minutes, God forbid, you can have an injury that can just terminate your game, terminate your career. So these are some of the pitfalls we don't understand. So when we have money, the tendency as a young man having that kind of volume of money, everybody wants to spend the money anyhow, this and this, and before you know, you run into problems. Then secondly, the system, because some of these things happen here before these players travel, but the system would have been able to put in place a mechanism that can really arrest some of these things. Talking about, for example, the pension scheme. As I speak with you today, the president of the Nigerian Players Union, Tijani Babangida, is on pension and is receiving a huge amount of money, which I don't like to disclose here, that is very, very comfortable. He will continue to receive that until the age of 80 more than, and even his siblings or whatever will still benefit from it. So if you leave some of these things in the hands of players, no player, for example, will want to dip his hand into the pocket, he has to, but if it becomes a policy, for example, before you send a contract to play in the league, it's there as part of the condition that for every month, 20%, 30% of your salary will go into a customized pension. So that is becomes a security, so that you don't become a liability to everybody tomorrow. That they are forcing you to save. You will not see that money until you are retired. And it comes with a lot of interest and all those stuff. Then talking about the issue of insurance, these are things because, you know, our regulations and our laws are not tilted towards the protection of players and their welfare. Yeah. Which is unfortunate because even our clubs, they don't care. Like I told you earlier, the players are just there, they play, they hold them for the player. We're having a lot of revelation. A player will play for you 2 years, they will go to that place 2 years, they will go in this and this. At the end of the day, when a player is retired, he comes to coach, and even coaches too, they don't. So where do you even get the money at your retirement? So these are things we need to see.
There are quite a lot of issues to talk about. But then, like I said earlier on, this coming together portends good. So before I let you go, let me ask, how soon can we see, a final blueprint of how the Players Union will work? We've talked about not letting the likes of Harrison Jala go because of their wealth of experience and contribution. So how soon before we have a new organogram and to know where they will fit in and move the Players Union forward?
Good enough, like I said, after our online meeting on the 25th regarding the reforms, we're having our AGM online on the 29th of August. So I'm thinking that this reform, the group for the reform committee has been given 2 weeks to round up. So I'm thinking that whatever we adopt will be taken to the AGM to look at the ones who can play. So I'm sure by next month we'll have a proper structure.
Right. I want to thank you so much for spending time with us on the Lunch Hour Sports Show this beautiful day, breaking it down. And I can tell you that Nigerians will be relieved that finally we can move forward, because the Players Union is a strong force all across the globe, and it's time the Nigerian part starts to pull its own weight and do the right thing.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. And of course, regards from my chairman CEO, Dr. Larry Zamuje, chairman CEO of Brilla Media.
We used to visit him when he was in when his office was in Ashbigli.
Oh, okay. Well, I think you're due for another visit very soon.
Greeting for me.
Yes, indeed. Have a lovely day, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
This is Sports Radio. Yeah.
Yes, Sports Radio 88.9 Brilla FM, your champions dial. A beautiful, beautiful day. And of course, action still going on right here on the area. Yes, indeed, the Lunch Sports Show. And of course, you can jump in on it. I just gone by the General Secretary of the Players Union, Austin Popo, and he covered quite a lot of ground. Like I said, the Players Union is a powerful tool which, if rightly used, can do wonders. A lot for the players and for sports bureau. If you take a look at how it's been employed, the kind of power that the Players Union has elsewhere in England, in Europe, then you know that we need to get our act together right here in Nigeria. And hopefully, well, we've seen the beginning of that with the warring factions now coming together for the good of all concerned. Back to the phone lines we go. Hello, somebody.
Good afternoon, once more. Happy birthday.
Good afternoon to you.
Malam, how do you know? I know experience, so wallahi, you need to be candid to agree. So that's your tweet on that issue, no problem. Abdulakim, I listen to the secretary. We have ideas in this country. So, it's at this point in time, it is no clear. So, God, please assist this individual to achieve this goal for the betterment of people in Nigeria. Thank you, Abdulakim.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yes, Sports Radio 88.9 Gorilla for Gorilla. Quite a lot, yes, indeed, to give you. But then, of course, you know, time. But not to worry, because we have the entirety of the rest of the day. Like I said, there will still be ample time, and there's still a lot of people we're going to hear from. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First time call.
What's your name?
Kamaludin.
All right. That's the best for you, being a first timer. What's on your mind? Hello? Oh, he called for the first time, and then the Gremlins decided to give him their own welcome. Well, not to worry. We'll have ample time now that you've broken the jinx, and I'm sure you will make it back on the line. Well, let me give you a heads up. Yes, indeed, during the course of today's program, and we will still hear from a lot of people still concerned about the Players Union. Yes, we definitely will hear about Liga Alpha, the other faction, Harrison Jala, right here on Sports Radio. So you know better than to touch that dial. About what's going on in the league, yes, representatives of the different club sides, particularly those who will be in action for Nigeria on the continent in various capacities. Well, we definitely will hear from them as well. A lot of people are still waiting with bated breath for the confirmation. Yes, we said that the PPG will be employed, but then what about the confirmation? Who's on top of the league as it ends? Who's in second and third place? Well, these are things that we will still continue to give you updates on. Before we duck out, let's take this one for the road. Hello, good morning to you. Good afternoon, beg your pardon. Hello there. Okay, still gremlin activity that happens when a lot of people are trying to jump in at the same time. Hello. Yeah, what's your name? Okay, still having issues. Well, I'll take care of that in a minute. Yes, got the technicians to work on it, pour a little bit of vitriol on it. But then I'm afraid that's how much time we have on the Lunch Sports Show this beautiful day. The action will continue. Yes, I know I titillated you a little bit when we started it off, gave you a teaser, and I'm yet to take your reactions to it. But not to worry, in due course, I will find out exactly whether you believe Arsenal have gotten their just desserts. What exactly is going on? Pep Guardiola saying yes on the pitch. We'll play them because we are professional. Off the pitch, we will treat them the way we treat snitches. Yes, indeed, because Pep Guardiola has said that, well, he understands that Arsenal were the chief instigator behind a request by 8 Premier League clubs for the Court of Arbitration for Sport not to allow a delay to the ban pending that appeal. Whether or not Arsenal should be worried about that, whether or not you're going to take sides, and if you're going to take sides, who you're going to take sides with and against, well, I will find out in due course as the afternoon edition of Sports Programming continues right here on Sports Radio 88.9 Gorilla for Gorilla. I'm Jiggy Kilani Abdul Hakim Adeshala is my name. I'm still in the building.